I want to take you guys back to July 6th, 2016. A lot of you, it doesn't mean a single thing. You have no clue what happened, no clue what I'm talking about, and that's okay because I'm about to enlighten you. Back then, the world was different. Everything changed. I don't care if you were a toddler back then or a full-grown adult. You were doing something. You were walking outside with your phone in your hand. And I know some of you are like,
oh, what's different about that? People do that now. Every time I go to the grocery store, blah, 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 blah.
Nah, see, this was different. Back then, in 2016, Pokemon Go was released on July 6th, 2016. And if you were not around back then, I mean, you have to be underneath the age of 8. And if you're watching this video by that age, but if you were alive and you were walking around doing the exact same thing, life was different. Yes, everybody walked around with their phone in their hand, looking at the floor. But the Pokemon Go series did something different. It caused everybody to go outside. We weren't sitting in our mother's basement anymore. We would walk outside and go look for Ghastlies and Pikachus and Caterpies in trees. Life was different and everybody was doing it. Now the big question is why? What was so different about Pokemon Go from any other mobile game? I went ahead and jotted down in my handy dandy notebook a couple of reasons why Pokemon Go was so successful and is still currently so successful. But before we get into that, subscribe to the channel to see more Pokemon content. About to post a lot more here, so get ready for that. Anyways, let's talk about Pokemon Go. And the first batter up it made you do is to go outside and have friends. Now most of us hardcore gamers will believe the same thing. I don't want to go outside. So what did Pokemon do so well that made all of these people want to play the game? Pokemon Go forced you to interact with people. Now I get it, that's a gamer's worst nightmare, people. Ugh. But if you've been around the block for a couple of years, you know that Pokemon implemented something very interesting, and that's the trade system. Pokemon's always had this trade system around from basically the beginning, and as annoying as it is, it's a smart thing to do. Game Freak gives you two choices. A, you can go buy both different games, and you can play both of them to the point that you want to get a different Pokemon, or B, you can go find a friend that has a different type of game than you and trade Pokemon. Now, plenty of people, including myself, hate, and I mean hate, that aspect. I don't want to sit there and not be able to complete my Pokédex because I can't get one singular Pokemon not found in my copy. But guess what? Unless you're going to throw a thick check, Game Freak expects you to lend a helping hand. The next Blue's Clues I got here is that Pokemon Go makes you travel. For those of you who have played Pokemon Go before, tell me, how many times have you heard a conversation from your friend like this?
Hey bro, I don't know if you know, but they got some hoots over there by Wingstop. You going or not?
I mean, sure, but you gonna pay for the wings?
What? No, I'm talking about hoot. We talking about wings, we not eating.
Oh, well, I mean, I do kind of need hoot, so I guess I go.
And guess what? You went! Pokemon Go made you go outside every single time you played. I'm sure you didn't have Caterpies crawling around your house, and if you did, you nasty. But for most everybody else in this world, you needed to go outside. You needed to go somewhere and go find those Pokemon at a certain time of day. So it forced you to go outside sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night. But if you saw back in 2016, everybody was outside. So to me, it wasn't a big issue that little Timmy was outside looking at his phone. Because guess what? He may have been staring at it, but he was getting his steps in. He had the Fitbit on. And to put the nail in the coffin about this part here, I don't know any other game that's forcing you to go outside like this. At least not the same level that Game Freak was making you outside. Most gamers only going outside to go to Best Buy just so you can get some points. Otherwise, I'm not going nowhere, and nowadays, I can stay inside and do it. And the final point I want to make as I open up my diary is, Pokemon Go gave you nostalgia. Game Freak did something pretty smart. When they first released this game, they only released it with 151 Pokemon. If you don't understand how important that is, here's a good example. If you have somebody else around you right now that's not familiar to Pokemon, let me ask them a question. Do they know what Pokemon this is on the screen? What about this one? And this one? That's right, I'm not giving you time to think, because if I show this one right here, it's more likely that people are going to know what Pokemon this is. The truth is, certain things are more familiar to people as you continue to get older, especially if you fall out of it. There's a reason you see Pikachu flying in the Macy's parade instead of Drampa. As I'm recording this, there is currently 905 Pokemon, and I'll give you props if you know all 900 of them. But you gotta be realistic. Grandma Betsy, she only knows probably 5 at most. and that's pushing it. So Game Freak decided, instead of gambling to see how many Pokemon people will know and put all of them in there, they took their time. They first put in the Kanto Pokemon, so that way, if Grandma Betsy did know about Pikachu, at least she can see a Pikachu first compared to seeing a Crawdon. And that's honestly how you do it. That's marketing. Game Freak made a smart decision, a smart business decision. And a lot of us may not like it, and of course it took plenty of years to see these Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Matter of fact, we don't even have all of them right now in Pokemon Go. And it's been 6 years since the release. Unfortunately, it was a very smart decision. And Game Freak, they made a big boy move making Pokemon Go. So these are a couple of reasons why Pokemon Go is so successful to this day. Honestly, it might be the biggest game Game Freak's ever released, period. Now, whether you agree or disagree, let's be honest, you'll probably never see another game like this. A free mobile game that's causing your grandma to come outside, that's great. But on the flip side, be cautious. Do not break any relationships just because you're an addict to Pokemon Go. I'm a huge fan of Pokemon, and I love the Pokepuns. I don't need a Pikachu. I ain't never need a queen. You said what? You think I'm gonna write you a love song? But on a serious note, everything that can be very positive can also have a negative effect as well. So be careful. Game Freak, they're smart, but they can hurt you as well. So be cautious. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and ride on out of here. So thank y'all for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want to see more videos like this, consider like, commenting, subscribing to the channel, and continue pushing them out. So y'all have a good one. Later.